Hi there. Um, Again, hello there. I'm Clifford Bates, and this is not a Friday live stream. I apologize. I was planning on doing a live stream this week, but something last minute came up that I'm going to have to leave, be someplace at, again, unfortunately, um, uh, um, be someplace at 5 o'clock, so I could not do the live stream at the time. I was hoping to be able to do it where I was going to be, but no, it was not possible. So in honor of my commitment to you guys, I'm doing not the live stream, as well as the normal video that's being released on the weekly the redo of the Aristotle's Politics. There's not much changed. I'm still doing the work I mentioned I did last week. The book review of Gashut that I wrote, that our friend Corlitz commented on, and the thing said that in the previous notes, we got it's coming out, and interpretation didn't really want it. I thought they were going to like it because it wasn't going to be long enough, or with the kind of detailed referencing that they would want, because it was basically a summarization of the book for the purposes of people who don't read French. Okay, it wasn't kind of really a interpretive analysis. It was literally just a summary of what was there. It was tertiary literature, not secondary literature in that sense, right? But let me see. I'm looking right now to see if Corlitz said anything today, or anyone else said anything these couple days. I'm doing this on Thursday, so. Oh no, Corlitz didn't put a question or anything up there this week, so I'm recording it Thursday afternoon, so before my trip, so voila. Now, where is there it is, there's the next one. Okay, so that's the basic thrust of things in that sense. I got my copy of the new Strauss volume. This is the Strauss on Religion by Minkoff and Nezame. It's a very interesting book. The only problem I have is the cover. The cover sucks. I mean, yes, it's the cover I would get at my publisher, Lulu. Actually, I would even argue the paperback version of these notes done in this is better than this in that sense. SUNY's been using these. I think SUNY has third-party out just to different, cheaper publish things, and the quality of their hardcovers are kind of went down. It would have been better to simply just make this a paperback, go directly into paperback, and only reserve this kind of hardbacks for libraries who insist on it, because really this is a paperback cover. This is basically a paperback, so therefore, even though the book is a very good a take on this with people, commentaries, some documents. Part one is some commentaries, not really commentaries. It's two things by Strauss, and commentaries by people on Strauss. One is that Strauss, a transcript of Neil Strauss's Nathan the Wise, reflection on this by Tim Kielson. And then Martin Jaffe on the Nathan Wise. Part two is the plan on the Kurzai, right, his transcript on the Kurzai from 41 to 42, and then Lerner's and Alexander Orwin on that. Then the third part is, part 3 is the transcript of the Strauss, Abraham and Mahdi's, and then 2 people commenting on it, Lucia Halper and Joshua Parents, right? Then part 4 is transcript on Leo Spinoza, 1959, and then Stephen Frankel's and Irina Ray deals with this interpretation of the transcripts of Spinoza of 1959, comparing this as a second take on Spinoza given his 1930 book, right? Then there is the transcript, notes on Plato's Symposium, a transcript on some Agathon speech from Plato's Symposium, and transcript of 2 letters on Plato's Symposium, 59. And then Strauss on, this is Minkoff and Alex Peru. They do something on the Spinoza, on the Spinoza, on the Symposium. And I think there's something going on at Boston College this week or next week, online symposium about the Symposium, okay? Strauss on, so I think they're going to expand on what they present here. Part 6, the transcript of Leo Strauss's selections from the seminar on Rousseau, right? And then 2 commentaries on it, Rousseau and Amoni and John Ray, the idea of civil religion. Then the transcript 7.1 on the religion and the Commonwealth and the tradition of political philosophy, the lecture, 1962, and the Strauss transcript on the manuscript of this lecture, and then 2 commenters, Nathan Tarkoff's book, thing, and then Philip von Wasso. Wasso, I'm a Facebook buddy with, so I even know Nathan too, so to say. And then last but not least is the appendix of several Strauss's confrontation with Pascal, by Minkoff, and that wraps the book up. It's actually worth getting in that sense. I would strongly recommend those interested in Strauss and the question of religion and the role of religion. This is something that I would think they would find it very important to get in that sense. So I'm going to put that over here. As I mentioned last week, I haven't started my reading of. I'm supposed to read The Dark Prince, Tony Blair. I haven't started with it. I read his biography. I don't think it's going to be any different from what he said in the biography and other speeches over time. So it's not like it's going to be any different. But I'm interested in looking at the book, Blair's book on leadership, simply because it's I've heard his speeches over the time. Not that it's a fan. I think it's you can argue that he is probably the most destructive force actor on the stage, and in the sense that he has actually done more damage to the system by being successful in that sense, right? Well, let me see. This is going to be tough. I'm doing my work on my political forum, on the political and social forum. I had to go through Popper's monster book. I think I'm going to use Popper and Hayek as foils. In other words, the liberal, because Hayek and Popper are clearly engaging in a kind of historicism regarding the supremacy of what we call larger networks, society, societas, right? Or the idea of Gesellschaft versus Gemeinschaft, right? And that the Gemeinschaft or community is this archaic, primitive thing, and that we're above that, and that those who want to, this longing for this primitive thing is regressive in that sense. Not Oakeshott, Hayek would refer to this in that way. Popper would call it the difference between closed societies and open societies, right? This is the way that modern societies are open and the older traditional things are closed. Now, much of this is echoing on some of the perceptions of people like Coolidge and Benjamin Constant, which I might talk about in the paper as well. This is a little bit as background, saying that this is the liberals privileged. It is the liberals and their idea of progress. The 19th century liberals in their idea of progress and this idea of moving away from the Entente regime to the New Order, from the family, the closed structure of the closed society to the open society. This is pure 19th century liberalism in a sense, and this perception of this political progress distorts our understanding of both politics and also society. So I think I'm going to I'm going to use them as the foil in this sense. I'm going to just talk about it, little bits of notes and referencing. This is what they do. This is what they do. And this is why the early moderns are very problematic, but like Hobbes and Locke are very problematic, because they don't really distinguish in a very important way. In Hobbes there is no society, and in other words, there's no social structure until the creation of society, and that is the social contract, right? There is no Gemeinschaft. There's no natural Gemeinschaft. There's no natural community in this sense. This is Aristotle argues that there's a natural community in all human beings. Hobbes argues that no, man is asocial, and that therefore his societal action emerges out of this. Now Locke and Hobbes agree, but we have to always remember that Locke is deceptive in this regard. He wants to make nature to be, that the original nature is more structured, more free, less confrontational than Hobbes does. There's more space. In other words, you don't get into the immediate conflict right away. You get to the conflict in Locke, but it's only as as resources become more scarce, as the number of inhabitants grow, and that all of a sudden there's no space. In many ways, Rousseau and Kant, Rousseau in his argument that man in the state of nature has no pride and therefore would not fight, and therefore Hobbes' view is incorrect. Rather, the man in the state of nature, once they're seen a threat, even any person would flee. So there is a way, in many ways, that Locke's reading and Rousseau's reading are much closer than this, in the sense that the idea is that this gives an argument for Locke in that sense. Rousseau's understanding of the ape, the fleeing character that wants the human being. But then the problem here is, what about family in that sense? And Rousseau seems to suggest that family is natural. Locke makes it a society, conjugal society. That's why one of the big things, and you can go see my lecture series on my YouTube series on Locke, that on this point, that conjugal society. In fact, this is the most shocking thing, is that the discussion of where he promises to get into the discussion of political and civil society, he spends most of his time on conjugal society, right? Much of the article on conjugal society in that sense, and this suggests that the nature of conjugal society is echoing very much a contract in Locke. So you see the same logic within Locke's understanding of the conjugal construction. For Rousseau, it's the family, and he doesn't explain it really. That says it's natural. It's something natural and is going to occur, and it's not contractual in that way. And therefore, that we have a question that that Locke doesn't really want to answer. Rousseau kind of doesn't go into detail. Locke gives us a contract, a conceptualization, and Hobbes just doesn't pay attention to the question of the family. Again, this is the Gemeinschaft, Gesellschaft problem writ large in the early moderns, that they don't distinguish this. And I've talked about this before, and I think this is why my suggestion is that we have to understand the nature, and this is my point about the political form versus the social form. I'm going to take the idea from, I'm going to have to put some discussion of where does the concept of political form, I describe what the political form is and what it attempts to do, but now I needed to describe what is the social form, and that's something I should do in that sense, and need to do. And we'll see what happens in that regard. So that's the whole issue here in my research on the political. I was hoping to get it done by the end of this month. I think I will. I printed up the text. I will spend some time just playing with it a little bit. So therefore, we know we need to understand that this conception of things in that sense. I don't want to talk too much today because it's not a live stream, so I don't see people like this. They want to know what we're going to do. I haven't started recording the Machiavelli yet. I've got getting everything all ready and set for that. I finally finished my outlines for the. I have to talk about a little bit about what I'm planning to do with my Aristotle. I'm still waiting on Lulu to authorize the creation of what is Lulu? Hold on. Yes. No. My eyes are bothering me today. My wife's saying, "Why don't you get? Why we have to get eye drops for your eyes?" Because I was doing some things, and all of a sudden the eyes that it was just kind of I got something, some dust or something, and everything was kind of like blurry, not blurry, but messy, and it still is a little bit blurry. So let me just fix the Lulu problem. Hold on for a second. Okay, I'm still waiting for the general licensing approval. I mean the general release of my Lulu book on the Polis, on the classical political form, okay, which is a little ebook I made. I posted on Twitter a couple weeks ago. I did it like on the beginning, like the 7th of October. Now, this is the 17th, so it's like 10 days, and it still hasn't been released into the general, like not only to dirty dandruff, a thing yet on Lulu. Lulu published it. It's available at Lulu, but as an ebook, epub, it's not available at Kindle or other places yet. So I'm kind of like, why is it not yet delayed? So we'll see what happens in that. But I was talking about making an epub for them. My Aristotle's, looking at Aristotle's politics, and it's kind of outline of chapter by chapter by chapter. It's done. I have it done. It's done. The problem is I can't make it an ebook because it won't epub. It won't do. I have the same problem as the original one. That because it's all about. It was all about I thought it was all about the graphics, but now I discover no, it's not about the graphics. It's about the formatting of the outlining format. That EPUBs don't like that in that sense, so it's going to be a big pain. So I've been looking at trying to. I've been goofing around with. I got an attachment for Word. It's my other computer. I'm not going to use it on this one. It was free and it was attachment to this, and I will use it. It's I mean my school laptop, so it's like, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, and I can justify it as doing it for school stuff, making it for school stuff in that sense. Maybe I'll make some school books. We'll see what happens. So the Aristotle project, I'm going to have to, the little book project is, and I was really thinking about starting the summaries up, but then I said, well, wait a minute, if the outline was over without converting it, changing the format, when you put it into the format of that I was using before, the mass market format sizing, and with the font size that I had, it was like 800 pages. It was over 800 pages. That was without using the having an addition, having bibliography information in it, useful bibliography. So I was thinking about that, but since that's too big, why would anyone want that in that sense? It's so I kind of halted that. When I put it in normal A4, it's around 450 pages, something like that. So it's huge still. I'm thinking of making a website. It's maybe the best way to do it, making a website. But how do you monetize a website? I was hoping to be able to make an EPUB that would be useful in that sense, but we'll see what happens. I have to talk to somebody. I'm gonna have to do this. I don't want to host it on. I can post it on my old tripod pages, but I don't remember the password, honestly. It's been 20 years. The last time I really did it was 2002, 2003. 2002, 2003, last time I actually did anything on my tripod pages. They're still alive, they're still there. I got in trouble. Someone trolled them and said, oh, something I wrote, because I have some of the stuff that's still, even before I came to Europe, back in the late 1990s, the early thousands, before I came to Europe in 1999. They said, oh, you found it. Because I put a thing about some of my friends, my southern friends who were kind of, not neo-Confederates, but they were kind of defenders of that against some of those people on the neocon right. I was a student in Mel Bradford, and he's always accused me of neo-Confederate, but he wasn't. He would defend it as what his ancestors did, but he wasn't kind of saying. In fact, he was even critical of some things the Confederacy did in that sense. In this way, Bradford was more similar to someone like the famous Civil War historian. Where is it? Well, I have it here. I think I have it in school. Shelby Foote, right? Someone like Shelby Foote. Although Shelby was a liberal, more mainstream liberal than Bradford. Bradford was a conservative, clearly conservative. So there would be some difference. But there would be more, their understanding of the South and these things, they'd have much more agreement than, let's say, a northern liberal. So I haven't used the websites in years, so I don't know if I can even remember the password and how I why, you know, part of me would say, well, it's not really okay. Maybe make this a new thing, find a way to, but that I don't have the money. I have to find some resources to make the website so that the website could be up there and accessible for people to use. I want to make it a permanent resource in that sense. Same thing with my Federals. I did the Federals paper, so I'm going to make a. I might actually try to maybe make a deal with the university, get a little grant, and say, hey, can I have a website? How do I apply for a grant to do a project to put the Federals papers, not necessarily the Federals papers on, but an analytical outlining of the Federals papers as an online resource. That is something I have it all done. I just have I have all 85 analytical outlines done for the Federals papers. That was my big, you know, preparing my work for teaching the graduate seminar. What else? It's been crazy in that sense. But back to the Aristotle problem. The Aristotle problem is, if it was imagine if it was going to be 800 pages just the outline. Imagine having to write a summary of each. It would be basically writing a summary would probably be end up being per chapter by chapter summaries of the politics, which I was going to do. That kind of cliff notes. That would be around 400 to 500 pages, I think, in that format. And while it would not be outlines, it would be long. So I will think about that. It would be kind of like, oh, here's the summary. Here is this kind of my summary of the politics. This is just a kind of thing. It's going to be like this, and it would just chapter by chapter by chapter. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of not worried. I think I'll get back to translating. I kind of put a freeze in. I have to go do some bullshit with school. They're gonna the commission has they have to kind of redo my evaluation after the rectorate overturned their decision, and I think they want us to they want to prove that they were right about me. So I'm going to I'm going to sue them. I'll sue them if they repeat the stuff. I just won't tolerate this idiocy. It'll cost me money, but whatever. This is the cost to be you have to pay to be able to defend yourself in this crappy place in that sense. And I think, I just don't know. It's just kind of, we'll see what happens. But I got my son new glasses. They sent lots of crap to prevent it from being destroyed. I got my new reading glasses. Yay. A little better. Okay. The ones that broke. Why that's important is I saw it over there and it bothered me. But you guys, should I really do the summary of the politics? If I do the politics, I froze translating. I started translating. I got up to book 2 done of the politics, my translation of it, and I have like the Greek on one side and my translation of it like this. Once I got derailed with the. I was doing that and the Federalist papers at the same time, so it took it took about 2 weeks to do the Federalist paper, 2.5 weeks to do the Federalist paper. But it just hit me with the stupid university bullshit. It just, it's like knocked the wind out of the sails in that sense. I was making real progress and making real things. I was goofing around with the AI a little bit. I've made 2 little videos. Someone bitched about my friend. Okay, so yeah, you can find it. My friend Steve Hayward's Political Questions substack. He published my QUANGO piece, my thoughts on QUANGO, and we'll see what happens. I don't know what Steve, and then also I gave him permission to. I transferred to him the video that I made with the AI editor, one of the AI editors I worked with. I was looking at a dozen AI editors, and a lot of them were sucky, and a lot of them were kind of, and I didn't want to pay for anything, so I wanted to do this experimental. There was one that was actually pretty good, but then when I went to download what I did, they said, oh, no. And the amount of points that you'd have to do, it was bigger than the yearly plan. It's like, whoa, why would anyone then do this if that's the case? It was like, I did it, I made a avatar of me that was me, okay, and actually it recorded, it used my voice to make the AI. I would have changed, even though they got some things wrong, I made a transcript of a discussion, analysis of book 1 of politics. And it was pretty accurate sounding me. So the AI was like, okay, good. It got some pronunciation wrong, but I get pronunciation wrong too, but it was not, I think I was, human me is better. But the AI was kind of a little shocking in that sense. I don't know what to say in that sense. The AI was AI fun. It was fun. I made the other one. I didn't. The 2 AIs, and none of them are my voice. One's a young kid doing QUANGOs, and it's kind of humor, and what is it? Yeah. That's gonna be tomorrow. Sorry, I'm just looking at something. It's just I wasn't trying to find something else. And I said, yeah, I don't want you to do my boo 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 do 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 do. Hold on. I ordered some Sharpies because I needed some of my Sharpies from 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's finally dried up. So I ordered a pile of Sharpies, not much money, but I ordered the Sharpies to do some note keeping and orderly structure. And then I got what? This is my yeah, Steve Hayward's Political Questions things. They have over 1,000 subscribers, you guys. So I'm like, ooh. And then QUANGO. He published my QUANGO thing. Why isn't QUANGO a thing in U.S. political culture, right? Just kind of like 21 hours ago. I got, one like only. It's like it's, no. That's the, hey there, America. And the criticism of it, my little piece was okay, but he says, the AI editor, I listened to it, not yet reading the lecture here, but I'm negative about the need for have jokey metaphors everywhere. In other words, that's the problem, is I think I present as seems to be an AI. The negative reaction to some of the assertions, and negative, in other words, it'd be what Americans prefer in way of governments and NGOs, right? In other words, the things they were, and he says the AI editor simplified some things, with broad strokes. They don't understand the role of this concept of the Americans don't understand the QUANGO in the British situation is much different than us. The QUANGO, because England is a much more centralized. England is far more centralized than America. The British and England particularly is far more centralized than America. Government. Much more centralized. And this is the destruction of older English traditions. In other words, the American tradition was England of the 17th century. And it maintained that tradition, whereas England in the 19th century and 20th century, particularly after the 1945 labor victory and the nationalization of a lot of things, and QUANGOs came out of the way in order to that the state couldn't really deliver everything that the socialists promised everyone, that they therefore created these quasi-governmental but autonomous entities to deliver the service or review or do this or to basically to kind of reward. Now someone said boondangle. One of the commenters. Yeah, it was a way that governments use, British governments use, to pay off, to kind of exit both senior civil servants and also politicians who went to then go work on charitable or issues. It was advisory, commentary, but then sometimes they were given authority to deliver some things. Okay, so and then also they would in the new direction they took. Particularly after the Blair reforms, the QUANGOs took a more direct hand in shaping public policy, particularly when the court would then get the information from the QUANGOs. The monetary board that was created under conservatives, under May, I think. May did as much damage in this than the Blair Brown era. Cameron and May are just as guilty as Blair and Brown on this new political regime where you've transferred power from Parliament to these quasi-autonomous entities. And then the Supreme Court will then, using the opinions of these agencies, these QUANGOs, as a mechanism to turn against the Parliament, which was unthinkable in the British system in that sense. So you have completely, in other words, this is completely not in the American experience. The QUANGO is not something that you would have in the American experience in that sense. So I think it's a good piece in that regard. I didn't know where to. I gave it to Steve, and Steve published it. I don't know whether Steve wants. I wrote another piece with it about the administrative state in that sense, that how this you can understand QUANGOs in connection to the administrative state. In the British context, it's more clear that this is the direction the Britain. Now, the American is much more. This is why I don't think this is the. It's America is too decentralized. You'd have to totally change the character of American political culture to centralize American authority. You have to understand, policing in England is much more centralized than policing in America. It's more uniform. Just look at the police departments. They may have different cars, but their uniforms are the same. Their whole culture is the same. The operating command and control center. In other words, in other words, one could argue that Blair brought the full, in other words, the thing about England was that it avoided the French Revolution, right? And but we could argue that the decimalization, the Heath government and its reforms and its entry in, the decimalization of the currencies, elimination of the counties, all the things that Heath did in that sense. Heath's reforms started, including the admission in the EEC in that sense. This is why some people say the Conservatives were part of the Brexit issue, right? They were hostile to Brexit because the Conservatives were originally the Labour position of Labour was, the position of Labour towards the EEC was hostile. It was the Conservatives who wanted the EEC as a mechanism to attack the welfare state. Okay, but then what happened was it flipped the situation, and then when the new Labour came, which basically sought to use neoliberal means to achieve socialist ends, this really fundamentally altered the game in that sense. So that's why QUANGOs, the critique, if you look at the 1970s and 80s, the critique of the QUANGOs was mostly done by the left. It was the idea that these were private bodies, autonomous bodies, not controlled by the democratic process, and that they were hostile, they were a threat to democratic situation. Now, we can see the flipping of the script, because under the Blair era, and many of the left decided to, go to the private sphere. They wanted to make these QUANGOs competitive in that things. They put their friends in the public, these entities, and put, staffed, loaded the QUANGOs and the bodies, the civil association bodies and trusts, filled them with the Blairite types, and therefore you had a fundamental altering of the political culture of England, that it changed, that the elites became basically engaged in this neoliberal vision of, that was the idea that you could tie this to socialist means, and therefore that was they couldn't have the critique of these anymore. Therefore they embraced the thing they once critiqued, and now the right is critiquing it. And there's a problem with it, because the libertarian right, and in many ways, like Hayek and these guys would like QUANGOs, because it's the private sphere doing it. But the private, this is who's the guy? Tyranny Inc. Oh, come on. Yeah, I can't ever get his name. Shoaib Armani. Shoaib Armani, the American. He's an American right, conservative Inc. How private power crushed America, and this is the and Shorobi. You can even point that what Shorobi said about America, about Tyranny Inc. About how the new left captured the idea that the left captured the American culture, and therefore derived a kind of, used institutions, the private societies, the private function. This is what libertarians don't understand, the danger of the radical left and their capture. In other words, the neoliberal position has been captured by the left. And therefore, all the private institutions that we conservatives used to like and libertarians used to like no longer are. In other words, they're no longer the friends of the civil society and the conservatives anymore. They're the friends of the left, and because of that, this is why the old fusionism is dead. because the old fusion, the libertarian perception of the idea of the private sphere being something that we should turn to, and privatization is a good thing universally because it prevents tyranny and it prevents government abuse. Well, private tyranny, in other words, the left have privatized tyranny and used the forces of the private sphere and the trust sphere and the NGOs as a weapon. And that's what QUANGOs are. The Brits got there ahead of us. The Brits kind of got there at the same time, but through a different mechanism. We're doing it, it's much more business, it's more decentralized in our sense. So that's my thought on that matter. So I don't want to go too far today. So those of you just wanting to go check things out today, we'll go say hi. I want to say things. Those of you who check out my thing, it's out there. We'll see what happens. I'm waiting for the release of something from the guys who do Metatoken. I need to harass someone. I said I'd send something to something and I didn't do it. So, well, I'll let you guys go. It was a short session today. I don't want to go too long. I don't want to go over. I didn't go my hour. I will do it again. I hope I'll be here next week. I will plan to be here next week. We'll take care and have a great day. Take care. Bye. I see. Okay, before I go. Okay, remember, you can check me on social media there. Like it if you like it. Don't like it. But check me on social media. So check me out on social academic media. You can do stuff by, the Patreon, the subscribe, Star, you want to help me, or buy one of my books. I'm hoping that the ebook will be out there soon, and it will be out there soon. Do you like the camera, or do you want to go to the old camera? I don't know. I'm kind of like iffy about the new camera. So there is, because it reverses for some reason. You see what here is on my, you're looking at me like a mirror, and that's it. I'm looking at a mirror, whereas in the other videos, when I do it, it's opposite, and I can see when I hit the books here, I can see my books. It's on my left. But it's again, this is reversing in that sense. Well, that's it. I hope you guys are okay. We will tell you that we'll start again. That we're still going through the politics on the re-release of the politics. I'm getting ready to do the recordings. I'll probably start in December to start recordings, some prep work for December. Hopefully everything will be done. Okay? Well, take care. Bye-bye. See you later. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.